Okay, so here we are. I've got all the resources I need. So I've got a background picture, I've got a character picture I'm going to use, I've got an MP3 of a song that I want to use, and I've got the lyrics to that song in a Word file. So what I need to do now is to open up my software. So this is Crazy Talk. At the moment there's absolutely nothing done in it. You'll see on the right hand side we've got a series of options of things that we can choose. There's different tabs, and all of these you'll be coming across later on. At the moment at the bottom we've got our timeline view, so there's various options we can show here, but there's nothing in the project yet. So what we have to do is to start with our character. So I'm going to go up here where it says create new actor. I'm going to choose from that to import an image, and I'm going to choose my monkey, and I'm going to bring my monkey in. So I've got various options here. The first thing I probably want to do is to actually crop it down, because I don't need my monkey to be as big as the image that I've got. So I'm just going to pretty much clip the monkey, and I'm going to apply that cropping. So there's my monkey. Now the other options here are to do with things like rotating the image and changing the colours. I don't want to do any of that. I'm pretty sure that that's the way I need it to be. So I'm going to click next. Now in this next step it's basically saying fit my anchor points. Now what I need to do is I need to, without too much hassle, put the 2 anchor points on the eyes and the next 2 anchor points on the corners of the mouth, and hit next again. This has now taken me into what's called face fitting mode. In face fitting mode I need to be able to put all the different points on the different parts of the face, but I'm actually going to go into a more detailed view. I'm going to click this second one here, which is even more detailed, and I'm going to zoom in on it. Okay, so for instance on this left eye, basically I've got different little nodes that I can click on and I can move to try and make the shape fit to the actual eye as closely as I possibly can, because afterwards I'm going to choose my own little eye to go in there. Now if I click on individual points, they move individually. If I click on the blue until it goes red, then I can move the whole thing in one go. And again, to do the opposite of that, I just click off it again. And I want to try and get the kind of, the little laugh lines and things lined up. Now one little trick, things like the eyebrow, if you try and line up the points so that the eye and the eyebrow are kind of all centered, so the middle of the eyebrow will be the middle of the eye, and the corner of it will be the corner in line here, and so on. Later on when the face muscles move, this will do a much better job of actually fitting that in. Okay, we do the same thing with the nose and the mouth. Now obviously the nose on a monkey is a little bit different to the nose on a human being, but I want to try and get it sort of in the middle and roughly in the right places. The lips, you can see I need to move this whole thing down so that the middle of the lips are in the middle of where they actually are, and again I want to try and move all the points to try and get them as closely fitting to the actual monkey's mouth as possible, because again I'm going to put my own set of teeth and things into this later on, and I want to try and get this as kind of close as I can to the way that it will be. With the actual face net itself, you've got 2 sets of lines. The inner one, this one here, is where you want to actually try and get the face of your person in, and the outer one is where you want to enclose any kind of hair. Now obviously a monkey is different to a person, so the hairline and the face are kind of different on the way this one works. So probably what I'll do is to bring the headlines in to actually just cover the face here in this kind of way. Now I can go back and edit this at any point if I'm not happy with it later on. I can always come back and repeat these steps, but at the moment I'm going to do something like that, and I'm going to make sure that I enclose the ears within this shape. The head needs to go up a slight bit here. Now it doesn't have to be super accurate when I'm doing this, but it does need to try and cover the majority of it. So if you've got someone with big hair that you're doing, try and make sure all the hair's inside, otherwise when you animate it it'll look a bit weird if some hair moves and some hair stays the same. So that's pretty much as I want it to be now. I've done all the points, so I'm going to hit next again. Okay, this next thing is to do with the kind of face. Now what you want to have is you want to have this elliptical shape in the middle of the face, so it's always better to have an image which is facing forwards with the mouth closed as a starting point. But on the right hand side here you can see that there is different types of face profiles. So this one is for at the moment is for a human being, but we probably want one which has got more of a sort of sticky outy face. So if we hover over some of these and try some of them out, that one's going to have a rounded sort of face, which is probably what we're after, but you might have someone with a long nose, or an animal with a snout and things like this. You can try out the different ones to see what it looks like, and you can always preview them. Click the preview button, and when you move your mouse around you can actually see what it will look like when that thing moves about. If you increase the strength you get more movement within that thing. So again, I'm happy now. I'm going to click OK, and there's my image has been put into there. Now all I really need to do in the first instance is probably get rid of the background here, because I don't like the grass in there. I just want to have the person itself. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this feature here which is called mask editing. So I'm going to click on mask editing, and you can see there at the moment the masking's gone completely weird on this, but there's two ways of doing the masking. I'm going to use manual mode. At the moment it's in auto mode, so I'm going to switch it over by clicking the button. You might just be able to see at the bottom of your screen which says go to manual mode on the left side, and here I can choose whether I want to add or remove. So anything in blue is going to kind of be removed. So if I use the eraser tool and I can change the size of the brush, I'm going to remove this masking from around my little monkey here, and I'm going to get as much as I can to kind of show it off. So anything that's blue is going to be got rid of. So if I find that I haven't got everything, or if I've overlapped, say I've taken a bit off here that I don't want to, then I can switch brushes, go to the brush mode, maybe change the size and make the brush a bit smaller, and I can add the blue in then to the various areas. So I'm just going to tidy that up a little bit off camera. So that's probably okay for what I want to do with it, so I'm just going to press OK again. And there's my my character ready to go. So before I go any further, I'm actually going to save this. So I'm going to go to Save As Project, and I'm going to give it a name. I'm going to call this one my monkey example, and I'm going to put a 1 on the end, because I might have more versions of this to try and keep it as I progress through. The last couple of things I'm going to do now before I actually start playing with my music and animation is I'm going to put some eyes and some teeth and things into my monkey. So I'm going to choose this eye one first of all. I'm going to click on the eye. It's telling me I'm going to use an eye from the templates. Now over here on the templates I've got various options, but if I go into the animal one, there's some different ones. There actually is a monkey eye that I can use. I could use something weird like a frog or an owl if I wanted to. So whichever one I use, I can just literally drag them onto the face, and you see the eyes go in there. Okay, and we can always test that later on by with some calibration tools and things, but we won't do that for the minute. I will actually change it over and put the monkey eye in. Now the easiest way to have a look and see how these things go, if I go back into my face fitting editor, which is this one here, I've got options on the side which will show me what things look like when I actually do something with it. So I want to see
up, down, left, right.
If I want to do
Smile, angry, sad, happy.
So there's various different things I can test out if I want to see all of them.
Up, down, left, right, tilt left, tilt right, and some natural movement. Now, check the fitting for eyelid movement, eyes closing, and blinking.
Okay, so I've got various options there for tests. I'm just going to cancel that and come back out of it. I don't need to do any changes to it. If I actually want to do something extra with the eyes, if I come back and click on the eye fitting thing again, this time it zooms in on the actual eyes I've put in, and I get this menu. This panel allows us to change anything to do with the eyes. So you can see here, if I choose the different radio buttons, it looks at the different parts of the eye, and within those we've got various options of things we can change, whether we want to make things look brighter and so on. So for instance, at the moment we're looking at the iris of the eye. If we change that, you can see what happens in terms of the brightness. If we change the contrast, so there's lots of little options that we can change to make them look different. You can decide whether they have makeup on or not. You can decide whether they have eyelashes or not, and so on. And this is just for this one particular eye. Obviously there's lots of different sorts of eyes we can choose from if we wish to. The brightness of the back of the eye, the white of the eye, all that can be altered. When you're happy with it, you basically just click on the close up here. If for some reason you only want to do it on one eye, you either choose the left or the right rather than both of them at the same time, but probably you'll want to do both of them. So when you're happy with the changes, you just close and it will revert back to where you were. We're going to do exactly the same thing with mouth fitting. We're going to click on the mouth icon and say OK. Now we need to decide upon a mouth before we actually start doing any work with it, so I'll move that out of the way for a moment. Just for this example, I'll just choose any set of teeth and put them in. Now within that area, again, we've got the options for changing things around to do with how much teeth is showing, how bright they are, and so on. So you can play around as much as you want. It might even decide that on your picture, if the head was on a funny angle, you might want to tilt or make the size difference of the teeth get affected, and so on. But again, when you're happy that they're in correctly, you just close and it will remember and save all of your changes. Now all I'm going to do now is I'm going to actually save this project again before I finish this tutorial. And if I choose the same object, it'll ask me to overwrite it, and I'll say yes.